Today on One Man Garage, we're actually working on the Oldsmobile. We're going to try to get the front end together, but first we got to de-rust the bolts for the control arms. I had to go dig around and find them because they've been sitting on the ground and rusted up real bad, but we're going to fix it. Went digging around and found the 4 top upper control arm bolts that are special with the knurls on it. That was one of the reasons it slowed me down. I had to go through all my little piles of hardware I've saved and go get some more of this $29.99 a gallon Evaporust. Really works. Throw it in the bucket. But make sure you got your favorite drink with you. That's pretty much my all-time standard beer. If there was only one brand left, that would be the everyday beer. Yep. Anyways, got these cool control arms. Didn't think I was going to put stuff like this on here, but you know, I got some disc brakes, so I'm not going to use those. Kept going back and forth. Got the new Moog springs a while back that I planted over here in the grass. And still got to compress. I might do it myself or go buy the tool tomorrow after these bolts are clean. But we're going to compress the springs, hopefully in the pockets, and get the lowers on with the, you know, and then the uppers and the spindles on tomorrow. So that's the plan. This old thing's got to get going, man. Been way too long. That's all we're going to start with, just because we want to get the bolts going. But you can reuse this fluid over and over. I've got some drill bits and other little bits that rain splashed on the other garage and got rusty, so I'm going to clean them up too. Good morning. It's the next day. Let's see what it did. Oh, I sure got that water dark. I guess we'll just pull them out by hand. Works really good. Keep in mind, if you have greasy bolts, you should do like Purple Power degreaser before you do de-rusting, but I didn't bother. I mean, most of this stuff was just pure rust. Like this bolt's got crud on it. That's a gearbox bolts. I need one more laying around somewhere. That's for those steering box. But yeah, so my knurled bolts, those are the key. But we'll probably just put them on like they are. Gotta see if I can get that spring compressor today. As I was talking about, all this stuff flash rusted on me, so I'm gonna throw it in the cleaner. Well, drove those in, so the knurls nice and tight. All that Rust-Oleum paint made the holes tight. That just made it grab real good, I'll just say. I wasn't gonna maybe just set the uppers there, just loose bolts, just to get them off the ground. But we'll have to go to O'Reilly's later and get that spring compressor. Probably can't see it, but yeah, I just got stung by a damn wasp. Apparently there's a nest in there in a spring pocket down low. Didn't check, beat on the thing with a hammer and launched and got my ass. I'm gonna kill that little sucker. Well, while we're waiting to go to the store later for the spring compressor, guess I'll go ahead and zip these end links off sway bar and get the outer tie rod ends off. Maybe I can get this gearbox bolted up and just leave the steering stuff just laying there. I guess gotta get something, then I can get this crap out of the way, put it in storage. Here's the coil spring compressor we're gonna try out. I think it'll be fine. Got a little late start on this because I spent a lot of today working on I like to help some of the seniors at church with their vehicles. If I can help them with some repairs, save them some money, and just volunteer whatever and do some work. But ended up doing a Suburban 5.3 LS water pump and hoses today. Thing hadn't been apart. It's got probably, I don't know if it had 200,000 or 300,000 miles on it, but why'd they put those little bitty bolts on the LS water pump? Man, I hate that. Those exhausts on the Gen 3 Hemis and the exhaust and the water pump bolts, itty bitty size bolts. So, you know, a lot of that stuff was dry, and some of them I was trying to be real careful not to break anything because I know that they can seize up. And sure enough, one of the bolts it didn't feel right. It felt seized. from rust or whatever. But I was smart and used my heat, you know, from my little Coleman fuel, the little torch head, and heated it up for a while, and I was able to get that bolt out perfect, and then use some anti-seize on all the reassembly. I didn't film any of that, but I just reminding folks, use that heat on those bolts before, you know, go breaking them off, and use anti-seize when you put stuff together. Help the next person down the road when they go to take it apart. But yeah, looking forward to this. It's gonna roll into Sunday probably, but who cares? We ain't on no schedule here, man. It's just my stuff. Well, looky, making progress. Had to remove the bottom out limiter from the upper, so I just barely got a few threads on this. I'm hoping I can cinch that up before I can't put any more weight on this, because there's not enough weight on the car without a damn engine in it. It's so hard to do this without weight on the front clip, but sure is easier to reach. So when I go to do the other side, I'm gonna have to reset the spring to go where I can pull it even deeper, and you know, whatever, so I can get a little more compression out of it. It's all still bound up right now. I gotta see if I can tighten up these nuts. So now things have progressed to remove the new upper ball joint, because I was tightening up top and bottom and got bottom tightened up, and then this one, a thread failed, stripped the nut out. So I got the slightly used, still good ball joint that just needed a new boot from the old tubular uppers that I had on the wagon for a while. Ball joint's still good, just broke in, needs a little paint on top, but I greased it and put the other boot on. So, or did I? No, we're just test fitting right now, but you know, we're gonna try to see if we can get that going. You know, removing that thing, well, not really, wasn't that bad. Well, I'm not done yet. I'm just saying it's not great doing it. I'm trying to get the bolt out so the little pieces will fall out. I got to tighten those nuts back there and the lowers. Took a little work to wedge all that polyurethane and grease fitting mess up in there too. Well, basically, luckily those bolts are just finger loose, you know, for the little hooks, so I had to get a hook off each one to kind of get the things out. But I'm sure I ain't the first person that's done that. There's probably better pullers out there, but this one's getting the job done. So got the cotter pin on the bottom. This one's almost snug, but it started spinning, so I won't be able to final torque that until all the weight's on the front end to get this A-frame up to where I know it's seated all the way in here, and then it'll probably stop rotating. So, but that's good enough for now. And then I got to get the bolt-on steering arms from over here, bolted on over here, snug that up, then we can put rotor on it, be able to make it roll. That's the plan. So I guess we're gonna bust a sway bar loose off this link right here and outer tie rod in. We can kind of get the main steering stuff out of the way. Oh, hey, that came apart like it's supposed to, like not taking long. I can finally carry that to the other side. ×2 for the driver's side. I think this old cotter pin's actually going to come out. The other one, I just pinched it off and hammered the socket over it and impacted it off anyway. Victory in Jesus. Thank you. Amen. Right tool for the right job. Stay safe. I'm going to get this gearbox and steering center link and tie rod assemblies, just a couple bolts finger tight just to get it up on the frame out of the way. That has certainly been a minute since that's been on the frame. I'm liking what's happening here, man. A little rust, a little paint, a little shine, a little shitola. Well, of course, bolts spinning and these locked up rusted drums are gonna have to be off to get the bolts out. 2 wrenches. Might not get past that today. pretty sore. I'm old. Patience is limited. Break on working on this because I've been working on that '06 Suburban for some senior folks at church, and did that water pump the other day, cleaned the mass airflow sensor, fixed a crack hole in the air filter box. It still had some issues. It had codes, went and got a code reader. Then the code reader OBD2 port wouldn't work, so I had to figure out it was the fuse for cigarette lighter, and got the code thing reading, got the code. It was an O2 sensor, and took off early today and worked on it in a parking lot because it wouldn't start anymore, and got the O2 sensor replaced. That's what the code was, and now it's running good again. And my steering arm showed up that I ordered, because why bust my butt to get stuck drums off to get the other arms off when you can just spend $50 and not bust my ass? It was worth it. So I got this side on partially, but I don't have it compressed enough to get the ball joint connected, so might try to ratchet strap. It's just kind of a whip, not having the weight of the engine stuff in it. Is what it is. But I'm gonna try something. Doing that steering linkage on this side. Went right up in there. Isn't this kind of neat? This control arm has a little heim joint on one end for sway bar length. Too bad I only got the stock little chicken shit sway bar. I'd usually put 1 1/4 inch 2nd gen Trans Am sway bars on, or a body like GTO 1 1/8 inch, Z28 2nd gen 1 1/8 inch, one or the other. Probably do that. Probably won't be putting that on for a while because I'm gonna see if I can find one local. Well, that is torqued on nice. Pretty good. I'd say that's gonna be sweet. Probably go ahead and connect the outer tie rod in, and I still gotta run the ratchet in there and do those back bolts. I never got that the other day, so we'll go ahead and do that. Now I greased the lower ball joint, I think, and these lower control arms I greased. The top ones I haven't yet. And I think I greased this upper. Yeah, I did. So I got the back bolts tightened up and this and cotter pinned. I do still have the old uppers that I had on the wagon for a little while. Just need to be repainted because I had degreased with some oven cleaner. It took the gloss off of it. I had robbed the ball joint out and remember it put up here. These are more like curved, and some people online had commented about these not really being right, but these are maybe meant more for a lowered stance car. I don't know, we'll see what the travel is once all the engine stuff's on it. I know A-frames are more straightish under load, like the Le Mans over there I looked at. So once this all the weight's on and no shocks and I can bounce it up and down with full weight, we'll figure out if the travel's okay or not. But we can always just put these uppers on. It'd be easier to bolt these uppers on, not have as much trouble compressing it far enough to get this bolted up. But for now, we're gonna leave these on. We always have options. Or stock stuff. Back over to this side, I'm just gonna work on the back bolts, the quick stuff, and tighten up, put this steering arm on. And it's hot out here, I have to take me a break inside. Of course, I can't actually tighten these because I still got the jack kind of protruding into the area where the dust shield would torque up against. And I'm not going to connect the steering link till this is connected, so never mind that. We're going to have to see if I can ratchet strap that or can press that spring more. It's you know, it's more work than it always is, or it's less than some. It's more than this. I don't know what that means. Hey, side note, yeah, this thing was repainted in the 70s or 80s. You couldn't get no parts, so it's got some wannabe reproduced handmade stripes. But if you look in the door jamb, if you look, I don't know if you can see that, but there's still the original tape still showing folded around the corner of the door. So how about that? Huh? You see it? Slide right here. Tape, different than this. Rallye W45 option, 1970 only. Available on F85 and Cutlass models, not the Supreme or 442. W31 engine not available. Only the L74 310 horse 350. Same thing that came in my red wagon, except in a lighter yellow little junior muscle car. We'll rob the ball joint off the other tubular to be consistent and use the new boot and greased it. And one of the other main reasons, because when that thread stripped out on the new ball joint that came on these arms, I tried the nut from one of these, and it turned out that these actually larger diameter, so that might be, it's some kind of smaller inferior thread, so that you don't want that. You don't want reduced diameter where the nut is with all that force. So I just decided I'm not, even though those are brand new ball joints and I think one part of one thread chipped off, I'm not running them. Probably chunk them, rebuild those tubulars with new ones that are more OEM Moog type stuff. So I've got some weights on some boards here to help compress the spring. I'm getting closer, so I may have to do some kind of half-ass planking, sit my butt up here and reach down between my legs and put my nut on. I don't know, we'll see how that goes. It worked with getting a few more cranks with the impact on the compressor tool and sitting on it. I was able to get it started. So I've got both of them all the way down, one cotter pin in, other one's ready for the pin. So I'm gonna try to take the tool out before I let the jack down. Then I can tighten up and put all the tighten up the steering linkage and then put the tie rod end on. And I guess we could throw rotors on it with no calipers and make this thing roll tomorrow. To take the tool out, I had a little something pop, and I just thought the tool slipped, and then realized the spring got all cattywampus and popped out of the spring locator circle thing inside. So this is we're going to be revisiting this pretty soon, not this week, and running that screw to compress that spring more also kind of, well, now I got two shock holes. I guess that's custom. Perfectly round though, so I guess I might do something with that later, or maybe drill a hole on the other side so it'll match and paint it so it'll look like it's factory. So this didn't go quite as well as it should have, but our goal we're still meeting, because the goal is only to get wheels to roll on rotors and then move the car over there next to the Firebird and back it in. So I can continue working on it, put all this garbly goop storage in the mezzanine over there. This hole will be cleaned out, and then I can park a running and driving car in here like a garage is supposed to be. So that's actually what the goal is, just get that car over there. It'll just be on jack stands over there, that's fine. So then we'll switch gears to the Firebird more, and yeah, that's fine. It's just like it's supposed to be. Oh, steering's connected. This is bolted up tight. See? The ring of success, except for behind it. That's fine. That's, you know, it's not like we're ever done around here. We just do different stuff different days. I'm gonna go wash up. I gotta go do something at church. We'll take a shower. Thanks for hanging out. We're gonna do some more. This ain't over. Hey, Larry, still working on the Cutlass F85, but now we're working on, again, on the LS53 Suburban, helping the senior folks at church I mentioned earlier. After last Saturday doing the water pump and using heat to get some seized itty bitty bolts out without breaking it, and fixing a puncture in the airbox with silicone, observing the mass airflow was pretty beat up and dirty, sort of cleaned it. Got a code reader. After fixing the circuit for the OBD2 wouldn't work, had to put a cigarette lighter fuse to get the code reader to work. Had O2 sensor bad. Did it yesterday, ran great. after it wouldn't run. Better mileage is back. Then it still didn't start again. We did hoses too when we did the water pump Saturday. And a couple weeks before that, I did the dry shaft modification. It had some dumb shop put a new dry shaft in that was built wrong and too long, had no room to move, and I figured that out and had to cut some off the yoke just so it could have some room to not bottom out in the transmission. And that's working again, but we're going to do the mass airflow now. I picked up a blue streak at O'Reilly's. It needs one anyway, but this should fix it. Going to put dielectric grease on the connections. Well, just a couple minutes. I left my truck running. Glad to have my air-conditioned Ram back after the hail repair. A lot of repainting too. New roof, new hood, painted the bedsides, got some scratches fixed. And I didn't put my Hemi emblems on because I lost one of the new ones, but we're supposed to fix that. Never mind that. I'm wearing black and it's hot out and it's over 100 degrees, so we're gonna see if it'll start again. Let's see what happens. Come on. Oh, wrong key. Bring the thunder. Oh, what do you know? It runs. Well, how about that? Let's make sure it did it twice. Yep, running, fixed. I think we're done here. At least I'd like a week or two of it being done. This thing was a little behind on some maintenance, so I'm just helping the old guy out. Mostly pretty easy stuff, though. Well, it's Friday jumbo hot dog on the grill night with a Victoria, because it's victory in Jesus and victory in completing the work week. We're going to get those brake rotors on that Oldsmobile and some wheels on it, make it roll. Yeah, these are actual 69 GTO rotors. If you note, it has a tapered rotor that bolts to a hub, and these were actually the 67 to 68 for the 4-piston calipers, but the rotors stayed the same in 69, but they'd switched to the single piston caliper, and then after the 69 was just transition on the rotors. So 69 rotors actually look like 67-8 rotors, but you won't get new ones like this that I know of. But it's what came with my stuff, and that's what it came off of, was a 69 goat. I'm gonna have to rinse these off, but the little bit of crud in the wheel bearings, I'll have to use the nuts and caps off my drum brake stuff, I guess. Well, that just took nothing at all, maybe 5 minutes. Probably we'll just pull these off later once it's over yonder when we move it after the engine's in, and we're just gonna slap them on there as is. Some satisfaction right there. We just need to nut these up, and the other side's on too. She's gonna roll. Well, to get this thing rolling, I ended up having to get some new tires on some 15-inch Pontiac wheels that I didn't have painted yet, but the old young feller there at the little tire shop did a great job sanding and grinding all the bead areas clean and greasing them up good. And so those were rims I was going to paint and have 15-inch with radials as a second set of wheels for the Le Mans and Firebird. Because it turned out these aftermarket caliper brackets, even though it's stock style rotors, they won't freaking work on 14-inch wheels. So we might be revisiting a lot on this front end later once the motor's in it and things start coming around. We're just going to try, the whole point, we're trying to get over there right now. Because if I can't run my original wheels, I may put all that drum shit back on. I don't care. I just, whatever. Right now we're just rolling. Got the Chief moved over there. Went in and got the wagon out. I'm probably going to bracket race it tomorrow instead of the Catalina. I dug it out today in the heat. It's so freaking hot. It's going to be miserable tomorrow too. It had another flat on the trailer wheels and my harness plug's broken, and I just want to deal with it. I just want to drive something, not have to change tires or do any extra work. When it's in the heat like that, I just want to drive there and go sit in the shade and make my run. So probably be wagon time. So wish me luck. Well, we're gonna roll this back now. Hey, that's something. Well, easy enough to get to there, but I want to get it turned around backwards to go over there. So I don't know. Won't take another break, man. It's hot. Well, that might have to be good enough for today. I gotta get it pulled back where I've helped to push. A little out of breath. Mission accomplished. Just not quite the way I imagined.